بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على النبي الكريم وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the opportunity to continue our lesson in Kitab Al-Akhdari. This is going to be the 8th lesson under Zuhra Educational Foundation. Inshallah, we are going to continue from Faslun fil Haidi, which is the section on menstruation. Okay, before we move forward, maybe we need to know the definition of menstruation. When we are talking about menstruation, it is a discharge of normal blood and protoplasm from the uterus occurs at specific intervals and indicates that a woman's good health without childbirth, that is, if it is not in the state of childbirth and a woman saw that blood, then it is called menstruation. Menstruation typically begins after 9 years of age, as there is no evidence to suggest menstruation occurring before this age, and it usually ceases after 50 years in most cases. But in the case whereby you see it before the age of 9 or after the age of 50, it is all possible because it is based on the condition, the state and the country and the environment someone is staying in. A brownish or yellowish discharge associated with menstruation, whether before or after, is considered part of the menstrual cycle. However, if such discharge occurs independently, such as before menstruation begins or after it ends, it is not considered part of the menstrual period. A hadith was reported from Atiyah. She said, "We do not consider the brownish and yellowish drops after menstruation as something." This is narrated by Bukhari and Muslim. So now, let's continue. وأكثر الحيض للمبتدأ 15 يوما. The maximum days for a beginner, that is a menstruating woman, is 15 days. وللمعتادة عادتها. For the case of an experienced menstruating woman, she is going to continue counting up her usual days. فإن تمادى بها الدم زاد 3 أيام ما لم تجاوز 15 يوما. For the case whereby the blood continues, then she can add 3 days, but let it not exceed 15 days. What we are saying here is very simple. In most cases, women used to have 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, or 8 days for their menstrual cycle. So, if a woman is having or seeing her menstrual cycle for 7 days, and in this case, it exceeds these 7 days, then she is going to make it 10 days. She will continue waiting for her purity to come on the 8th day. If it does not come, in the 9th day. If it does not come, in the 10th day. And if it exceeds that 10th day, then she is going to observe her ritual bath and continue praying and go to the doctor. For the case of a woman who is having 13 days, then she is only going to add 2 days to make it 15, because a woman cannot exceed 15 days having her menstrual cycle, because there are some of the women who used to have 2 menstrual cycles in a month. So it is agreed that the menstrual cycle cannot exceed 15 days. وَلِلْحَامِلِ. For the case of a hamil, that is the one who is a pregnant woman, 15 يوما ونحوها. وَلِلْحَامِلِ بَعْدَ 3 أشهر 15 يوما. For a pregnant woman, after 3 months of her pregnancy, she adds 15 days. If the blood refuses to cease, and the like, that is, maybe she can add 20 days. وَبَعْدَ 6 أشهر 20 ونحوها. But if it is after 6 months that the blood refused to cease, then she can add 20 or 25. She can add 20 or 30 days. That is ونحوها. Okay. فإن انقطع الدم لفقت أيامه حتى تكمل عادتها. If the blood ceases, she sums up the days of menstruation until she completes her usual duration. What we are seeing here is very easy. That when the postpartum bleeding ceases, the woman counts the days until her usual menstrual period is complete, as estimated previously. So any excess days beyond her usual period are considered as istihada. So what we are seeing here is that if the blood used to cease and come back, if her normal days is like 8 days, then the blood comes for 2 days and it ceases. It's come for another 2 days and it ceases. It's come for another 2 days, making it 6 and it ceases. It comes for another 2 days. You can see it is 8 days. So if this 8 days is complete and the blood refuses to stop, then after that 3 days, then she is going to perform her ritual bath and continue her activities, because it is not a menstruation again. ولا يحل لحائض صلاة ولا صوم ولا طواف ولا مس مصحف ولا دخول مسجد. It is not permissible for a menstruating woman to pray, fast, circumambulate, touch the Quran, or enter the masjid. وعليها قضاء الصوم دون الصلاة. A menstruating woman is going to make up a prayer, but she is not is going to make up a fast, but she is not going to make up prayers. وقراءتها جائزة, and her recitation is permissible. ولا يحل لزوجها فرجها. Her private part is not permissible for her husband to have intercourse with her. ولا ما بين سرتها وركبتها, and also what is between the umbilicus, that is the belly bottom, وركبتها, and her knees. حتى تغتسل, until she performs the ritual bath. فصل في النفاس. Nifas, that is the postpartum bleeding. النفاس في كالحيض في منعه. Postpartum bleeding, nifas, has the same ruling with menstruation on its prohibition. وأكثره 60 يوما, and the maximum days for the postpartum bleeding is 60 days. فإن انقطع الدم قبلها ولو في يوم الولادة, if the blood stops or ceases before the 60 days, even if it is the day of the bath, اغتسلت وصلت, she should perform ghusl and pray. فإذا أودها الدم, if the blood return, فإن كان بينهما 15 يوما فأكثر كانت الثاني حيضا. If there is between the first and second blood there is 15 days, then the second blood is menstruation, because whenever you have 15 days impurity and you saw another blood, then that second blood is a new menstruation and not the continuation of the first one. Please take note of this. وإلا دم إلى الأول, but otherwise, in the case whereby the difference does not reach 15 days, then it should be joined to the first, that is the first menstruation. وكان من تمام النفاس, which is the first postpartum bleeding. وكان من تمام النفاس, as it is a completion of postpartum bleeding. So when a woman gives birth and before 15 days she saw another blood, then that blood is postpartum bleeding and not menstruation blood, please. Let's take these benefits. Women are expected to differentiate between menstruation blood and istihada blood, which can be differentiated with the following. Color. Menstrual blood appears black, while istihada is red. Odor. Menstrual blood has an unpleasant odor, whereas istihada does not. Thickness. Menstrual blood is thick, while istihada is thin. Pain. Menstrual blood is accompanied by pain, whereas istihada is not. Quantity. Menstrual blood is discharged in small amounts, while istihada is released in large quantities. So these are some of the benefits and the difference between istihada and menstruation. Alhamdulillah.